It took me a long time to record this particular series, but I also feel it's basically a series I could, still do better. However, I basically, gone through this basically 5 times at this point. And I figure, I've wasted enough time. Let's just get it up. And what I'm basically talking about is basically a read-through for Escapades of Fay Willows, which is basically a bit of a lore I wrote for Tales of Maj'Eyal. And I'll note basically, this was basically published in the game, several years from now, half a dozen years. But when it's basically published, it wasn't really edited or really made as good as it could be for the most part of the story. And a lot of people basically noticed this and they called it out. I never really did anything about it because I was basically it's in the game, okay, it's basically done. But recently I basically decided to basically go chat with Dark God and ask him if it's possible basically I could rewrite this and edit it and stuff like that. And he's edits are always are allowed, so he's okay. And the thing here is basically that well, I basically gone through this story editing it several times now. And you'll actually see basically one of my videos basically sort of touched on this, but basically I've gone through and basically been editing this this series since the start of this year. And I could probably still edit some more, but it's basically at that point where you basically keep on editing and editing it to a point where it's do you really need to edit more or just maybe just put it out there for the most part. That's basically where it is right now. You can always make something perfect, but I mean, the question is how perfect do you want it basically to be? And I think at this point this book is basically more or less perfect enough, so it's basically gonna be going up my channel basically. Alright, so yeah, basically note that since January of early this year, January 13th, basically I've been constantly editing this up to be a better story. And I'll note by the way as well, if I basically look at my story here, we'll just go edit select all. I'll note basically when I basically start editing this, I think it was basically around 38,000 words. It's basically gained about 100 additional words here. It's basically had a bunch of art changes basically to it as well. You'll basically see those as they basically go along, but one of the first ones you basically see here is I now have a sort of character sort of description based at the top of each of these chapters or books rather. And the idea basically is you can basically see some more ideas basically being thrown in here, some ideas being reworked, stuff like that. And more or less to top it all off, it'll be edited and actually readable for most people, I believe. I'll notice well, by the way, I use several tools that I didn't really use basically the original construction of this, and I'm basically going to depth as well. But even just during the time basically this editing this is up, I've used more and more tools basically to sort of spruce it up to be better. I started to use the Merriam-Webster dictionary, speaking words, which is basically just a site to get ideas for different words that basically relate to each other to diversify the words basically being used, etc., etc. Alright, so I'll note that basically this is going to be what I'm basically going to focus on for the next little while. There is still some reels basically to do, and I might throw one or two basically of them in here, but for the most part, this is basically something I just want to announce basically coming to my channel. I'm not basically going to stop doing the other stuff. I just want to get this basically out of the way because this stuff is being edited for Tales of Maj'Eyal. I want to basically get some feedback, basically check it out. I'll note by the way in the description you'll basically find that there is going to be a link to Fay Willows Escapades. So you'll basically see this in the link of this video, for example. And yeah, basically give it a read through if you want, or partially. Let me know your thoughts. Basically, do you think it's been improved, or is there areas where could be done better? Alright, well, that'll be it for this announcement video for this. Hope you basically enjoyed, or will enjoy it basically what's to come. Take care.